Hello and welcome back to another video. My name is Brandon Watson. Today I have a list of 4 stocks that I think have the potential to reach for at least 30% over the next few weeks to months. And if you stick around to the very end, I'll also go over a stock that might have the potential to reach for over 400% if it goes back to its all-time highs. So let's jump right into it. First up, we have First Solar going under the ticker symbol FSLR, whom commercially provides solar energy solutions around the world. Looking here on the one-day chart, where every candle represents a day's worth of past price action over the course of what I have set up as a full year, we can see that price recently gapped up with the news that US President Biden will block the import of solar materials being made in one of China's regions. Ever since then, prices come up to a previous $95 resistance and held with lower volume as price retraced back to hold over a $90 resistance turn support. Assuming that price holds the $90 level as people slowly take profits with lower volume, it might be safe to say that FSLR could start to reach for its predicted price target of $111 from Bank of America Securities on July 1st. If this is the case, and FSLR starts to move through its resistance at the 93, 98, 105, and $110 levels, then this would equate to a 22% move to the upside. Now, I know that may not be something to write home to your mother about for some of you, but if you take a look at the monthly chart, then things for First Solar starts to get a little interesting. With the daily support and resistance taken away and the chart only left with the main two levels, we can start to see a few things should you decide to hold on to FSLR for the long term. For one, the 9 and 25 EMA are crossing over the 200 EMA, and if you've seen any of my past videos, then you know that this is one of my favorite things to find, especially if it's potentially at the beginning of a new trend. The second thing to notice is this 7-year consolidation that occurred between $26 to $73 from 2013 to 2020. This long yet perfect trending consolidation has to go somewhere, just like a pool of energy being bottled up over a period of time. The more energy you have pulled together, the larger the blast is going to be, which, as you can see here, price started to move out of its consolidation range back in November of last year. Now the share price has come back and retested $70 as a new support, thus bringing the 25 EMA over the 200. And we have what appears to be some directionally positive movement that gets validated with higher volume on the way up and lesser volume as people take profits on the way down to the retest of the newly turned support, which you can see occurred right at the moment the 25 crossed on over. The last thing you'll want to notice is where FSLR first came from. Now, aside from their BNGO-like rally once they first IPO'd, we can see that share price took a tumble from all-time highs at $317 down to the $100 mark that Bank of America recently gave as a price target. Now, although the $100 level seems almost certain for a 25% gain from the current share price, I don't think that FSLR will stop there. The 7-year consolidation is too massive and perfect to just come up to $100 from 70. That's only a 60% increase. Where I think this goes is at least to 150, 160 over the next few months, if not higher. Why? Well, besides the consolidation, what about the people who bought the top and have been holding ever since price tumbled from 300 to 100 and back up to 170 before ultimately crashing down to all-time lows at $11? All you have to do is take a look at BNGO to know that those who buy IPOs too early or too late can sometimes get their money back if they hold long enough. Eventually, the new uneducated money will hype their ways into a stock when they see potential for massive long-term gains, when in reality they were only the fuel to get money back into the original investors' pockets after holding on to a loser for so long. Now look at them as BNGO lovers continue to give their hard-earned stimulus checks away as price continues to trap them on the way back down. Only key difference here with FSLR is how First Solar's share price has been slowly building up over years. Whereas BNGO was on a steady decline before they came out with propaganda to pump their share price higher before it were to hit the graveyard at $0. If FSLR does end up moving to a $150 level, then that would equate to a roughly 65% gain from the current share price, or 100% if, for whatever reason, First Solar really starts to explode from their consolidation up to the $200 level, which is also a very definite possibility thanks to the length of the consolidation. But that could be several months or a year from now if something like that were to happen. And that's also disbarring any social media hype that would drive the price further. Though I don't really speculate on that type of movement, I only focus on the facts that the charts provide for my analysis. Moving on to another solar tech company, we have SunNova Energy going under NOVA as their ticker symbol. Unlike FSLR, where the setup looks nice and juicy, Nova doesn't seem to have that same type of movement, as it's only a 2-year-old company that IPO'd back in July of 2019. Saying that, price had trended very nicely over the 200 up until the peak of all-time highs at 57.7. Then, as price formed a downward channel and came back to the original breakout point, price started to get lifted off the $25 mark and out of its 6-month-long downtrend as again the EMA start to cross over the 200. This is a great sign, and one that could be possibly validated by the two upgrades for $51 and $56 back in June of this year. If this is the case, and price does start to get back to its all-time highs, then that would return roughly 40 to 50% from the current price level at 38.32. Pick your poison. If you believe that Biden is going to make some solar moves, then either of these two companies could do extremely well in the coming years. They aren't overbought, price has been moving nicely, and assuming that price doesn't fat stay over the 200, then this could be great to build a long-term position off of should you choose. My third idea for today comes from ticker symbol AMD, which as you can see from this arrow here, the last time I called this out, the share price went up 11% to new all-time highs before retracing back to the old $75 support. They say the more times a certain level gets hit and holds as a support, the stronger it becomes. Well, it seems like AMD investors made it fairly clear that they weren't going to allow the share price to drop below $75 for good. Volume has been steadily on the rise as price trends out of its $75 to $87 channel, and as the share price starts to take on its old resistance levels at 90 and 95 that it created back last November, we can see that this time the EMA lines are looking exactly how we want them compared to this entire area of consolidation when we first talked about it on the channel. These lines look much cleaner and orderly, which combined with a rise in volume could be good news for AMD to push clearly over 100 before moving to higher ranges. So where exactly can AMD go from here? Well, if Nvidia is any indication, then I would speculate that AMD could at least get to $200 with a little bit of time. How much time is beyond me, but let's take a look at something here on the daily chart, which I've set up to see the matched number of days available. Then to make this look even more cleaner, I'm going to change the price axis to a logarithmic setting inside the TOS chart settings dialog box, and we'll immediately notice just how similar AMD and FSLR's consolidation looks. This nearly year-long consolidation is perfect for the next leg up, similar to this 3-month consolidation last year that led to the current leg AMD fought through since August of 2020. That little 3 months provided a nearly 65% push over the course of a month, so what do you think a year-long worth of accumulation between 75 and 100 is going to do? A price target of 200 seems pretty reasonable when you look at it that way, and although AMD may not be an Nvidia, that doesn't mean that AMD can't make the trek up to 200 the way that Nvidia made the trek up to 800. They're similar in comparison, and quite frankly, I don't think AMD is just going to wither away and die with the ages, but will instead continue to create and innovate to stay alive and in competition. So, saying that, I think it's only a matter of a short amount of time before investors carry the share price through the $100 promised land. How long it stays at that level, though, will be anyone's guess. I'm thinking not for long, as AMD isn't some small fry unknown stock, but rather a well-known popular stock that once positive news breaks, could send the share price flying. Let me know in the comments below about AMD and where you think it could ultimately go. And for the fourth and final idea, I'm going to throw out a fairly speculative stock that has to do with the aluminum sector. Ticker symbol CENX from Century Aluminum has a fairly interesting setup currently forming. First off, ever since hitting 52-week highs at 19.6, CENX has been on a downtrend that's lasted for close to 4 months now. Then, as recent as the middle of last month, the share price has retraced and bounced off a previous support, which was then validated with 4 million shares coming in at the close as price created a bottom wick, rejecting the 11.3 level, which can be seen clearer on the 1-hour chart. Now, 4 million shares might not seem like that much, but that day only saw 6.7 million shares traded all day. So this isn't an ordinary bounce, but one that seems to have filled some large investors' positions for a second time. Assuming this large order is correct about their investment idea, then price holding over the 200 is a good thing for us small timers. Again, any price that has a 9 and 25 EMA over the 200 EMA is technically considered to be in an uptrend. Does the share price have to trend higher, let alone even stay above the 200? Of course not, but though utilizing the 200 as a stop loss, then we can build a position off it assuming price trends higher. Now, why would I save CENX for last, and why would anybody care about it? We'll glance first at the weekly chart, which shows a week's worth of information in each candle over the length of 3 years. What I want you to take note of is the price currently holding over the 200 EMA as it retests the old 11.3 support. If price can reach the resistance from here at 17.8, then that would equate to a roughly 35% increase. Now, if we move to the monthly chart, and again have it set up to a logarithmic format, then we can see that ever since Century Aluminum's IPO in 2001, the share price has fluctuated between a $1 to an $80 channel, with the bulk of that movement trading between $6 to $30. If we zoom in a little, we'll also notice that the current candle is sitting just between the 209 EMA, with the 25 EMA sloping upwards. Taking into account the larger volume as price retested the support at $11, and we might have a bullish case where all the analysts say otherwise. Most analysts are late to the party anyways, and the volume combined with a relatively current price action will always tell a different story than a financial statement that was drummed up months prior. The volume and price action here on the monthly chart is looking better, and assuming the current monthly candle for July does bounce through the 200 EMA, then maybe CENX can start to reach for its median resistance near 30, which would return over 120%. Then taking it one step further, assuming there is no new recent price targets for CENX due to the analysts possibly forgetting about this company all year, then maybe things have changed from within the company, and maybe, Only large investors with their detailed knowledge and network of people know of these changes and are starting to build or continue to build up their positions from this $11 region. CENX used to sit at $80 back in 2008, and although it may take a little more time than AMD reaching 200, it's certainly possible that CENX can push through $30 up to its all-time highs at 80, which from here would be a nice little 450% increase. All it takes is this wedge on the weekly to break upwards and it's game time. Break below $11 and it's game over. Prepare for both sides as anything can happen, but for this little aluminum company with large volume spikes, I think I like my chances. So if you have any questions or feedback, please drop a comment below. And if you have something that you want me to analyze you feel could be a strong winner throughout the rest of the year, go ahead and drop that below as well. Or feel free to come join us in our free Discord. The link is in the description. Otherwise, take care and have a great weekend.